This is Superman. He was raised in Kansas, but he was born on Krypton, a planet that is not Earth. That means he's an immigrant, and since he didn't get permission to come to the US, that makes him an illegal immigrant. If that bothers you, you're 87 years too late. It's always funny to watch the perpetually offended lose their minds over nothing. These people have no real reason to hate something, but they really want to hate it, so they go out of their way to find anything that offends them so they can feel justified in saying the totally unjustified nonsense they already wanted to say. For example, the right are offended by the new Superman movie because James Gunn made it political and attacked the fans. Now, that's not exactly what he did. What actually happened is that during an interview with The Times, Gunn spoke about some of the themes in the film, specifically the geopolitics in Superman's origin, and said that people who aren't nice are jerks and to screw them. Some of the MAGA crowd heard that, took it out of context, spread it around their FAP circles, and then lost their minds. Now they don't want to see the movie, which is interesting because they already said they didn't want to see the movie because James Gunn doesn't support their politics. They spent months saying this, but I guess now they really mean it. At any rate, what's missing from their overreaction is context, why Gunn said what he said, so I'm going to give you the full context. The article talked about how Gunn planned to make his film successful in the current superhero climate. Gunn mentions that things used to be easier, but post-MCU, people can't just put out any superhero movie and expect it to rake in dollars. The movies need something to grab the audience, and the article implies that more mature themes could be the best avenue. Quote, "One way to do that is with the 10-minute scene that just features Clark and Lois talking about geopolitics and whether Superman should have stopped the war. It's exactly how to make a superhero movie to engage adults. It is definitely the most unusual thing we put in a movie," Gunn says. "This is a Superman film for the age of endless discourse, with the difference being that the people, Clark and Lois, who disagree with each other here are willing to discuss and even perhaps learn. Yes, it's about politics," Gunn says, "but on another level, it's about morality. Do you never kill, no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really about their relationship and the way different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. That's the context. So for the people losing it because James Gunn said the P word, please, enhance your calm. This is exactly the type of story we ought to see with Superman because it's relevant to his character. He has the power to stop wars, but does he have the authority to do it? Does he have the right? What are the consequences, not just for him, but for the people involved in the wars he stopped, for the entire geopolitical arena? All Superman's battles won't be with aliens or monsters or other super beings. Sometimes they'll involve real-world situations, and it's fair to ask how Superman should handle that, or if he should even be involved. The same goes for killing. Superman is one of the most powerful beings in the universe. He can kill people on a mass scale in seconds. Should a being that powerful take other people's lives? Should he be judge, jury, and executioner? Should he make a mistake, to whom does he even answer? These are perfectly reasonable questions to pose about the world's greatest hero. If these basic moral quandaries offend people, then maybe they don't have the backbones of steel they claim they have. Now, this is where the MAGA types will claim that these movies should be about escapism, to which I would say, who made up that rule? Every superhero movie that comes out doesn't need to be a mindless popcorn flick. Some people like their movies to have stories with substance and insight, some challenging concept that makes them think about the themes of the movie, not just turn off their brains. If that's what you want, you've got 4 other Superman movies. Superman 4, Man of Steel, and now Superman 2025 tried to get to some deeper concepts. There's nothing wrong with that. Superman movies can do that and still be fun action movies. We already know it works. We've seen it before. It's called The Matrix. Every movie doesn't have to be a simplistic yarn that tiptoes around anything interesting or meaningful or currently relevant. If people want escapism, there are plenty of other movies that'll hit that spot. Now, that's not the only thing that got under the right skin. There's also the problem that Superman is an illegal immigrant. He landed on Earth without permission, and the Kents faked his identity, so technically, Clark Kent is not a legal citizen. Now, there have been numerous changes to Superman's origin over the years, most notably with John Byrne's take having Kryptonians using a birthing matrix and Superman being born once the ship lands. but the current and most common origin is that Superman was a baby when he arrived, meaning he's not a natural citizen of the United States. But that could easily be fudged by claiming he was abandoned as a baby or that Martha gave birth to him in secret. Either way, since the right's dear leader has made such a big deal out of immigration, it makes sense for Gunn to mention this inconvenient truth about Superman's origin, which he does in the interview. Quote, "I mean, Superman is a story of America," Gunn says, "an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it's mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value, and it's something we have lost." I asked if he considered how differently the film might play in, say, Blue State, New York, aka Metropolis, and Kansas, where Kent grew up. Yes, it plays differently, Gunn admits, but it's about human kindness. And obviously there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness. But screw them. And as if on cue, the mega crowd immediately went, "Hey, we resemble that remark." If he telegraphed this anymore, Gunn could be a fight choreographer for the Star Wars movies. This is the very definition of "it's a trap," and they all fell into it. What I love about this is that Gunn didn't mention any political group. Yes, the interviewer mentioned Kansas, but Gunn never mentioned Kansans. He only said jerks. So if anyone gets mad about that, they're kind of admitting they're jerks. That's the trick. The very obvious trick most people learn to catch when they're in preschool. In short, if you're offended by Gunn's comment, you're just telling on yourself. Incidentally, Gunn didn't say that bit about jerks for nothing. He gave this account in the interview, quote, "We posted footage of David Cornsweat with a bunch of kids who were extras on the set. Kids love Superman. It's like when they see Santa. And David was high-fiving them. It was so beautiful. Such a cute video. And then I saw people saying, 'Oh great, we got a Superman who's a pussy.' Are you kidding me? That's something you're going to attack? That little kids like this guy and he's kind?" Yes, the answer is yes, they will attack it. Hell, the people bitching about Gunn are probably the ones who posted those comments. They definitely have the same mentality. Here's the actor being kind to kids, but in these people's minds, kindness is a sign of weakness. Ironically, these are also the same people who constantly complain about the lack of morality in modern superheroes. They claim they want characters who embody this trait, but the moment they see someone actually do it, they tear it down. Now they claim the movie is bad and woke because the director doesn't like jerks. That's really not the based hot take they think it is. And of course, the MAGA crowd expects Gunn to kowtow to them to get them to go and see the movie they already said they didn't want to see because James Gunn doesn't support their politics. Now, Gunn got asked about the backlash, and he gave the typical PR response, quote, "I'm not here to judge people. I think this is a movie about kindness, and I think that's something everyone can relate to." He would be wrong, as the MAGA crowd is showing, but I digress. His brother, Sean Gunn, was more candid, quote, "My reaction to the backlash is that it is exactly what the movie is about. We support our people, you know? We support our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant. And yes, the people that we support in the country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, you're not American. People who say no to immigrants are against the American way," which, oddly enough, is exactly the opinion Superman has expressed throughout his 87-year history. Some people forget that Superman represents the best humanity has to offer. He's not about shoring up the right-wing obsession over so-called traditional American values and the tainted history that comes with that phrase. Superman is not, and never has been, one of the good old boys. He's the one who puts the good old boys in their place. Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way. And the real American way, the principles behind that idea, isn't about hurting people and enjoying their pain just because they're different than you. If that's what these people want, they're not looking for Superman. They're looking for the Ubermensch. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.